Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples and I'm Bruce McCurdy. I'm not Bruce McCurdy. You're Bruce McCurdy. I'm with the Edmonton Journal and I'm with Bruce McCurdy.
We could be a defense pairing for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Well, I
with
certainly
our high level
I just
of communication skills there.
I went full Bouchard on that introduction, Bruce. I had something on my mind. I just want to welcome one of my good friends from Vintage Hockey, where I play, Ron Burlando. I just showed him how to use follow podcasts on his phone, so he might be listening in tonight. If you are, Ron, welcome to the podcast. Bruce,
hey Ron,
great hockey player in his 70s and can outskate me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, that's not saying much.
I admire those guys that play into their 70s.
It's
some
awesome.
Can still really play.
Oh, they can. They just fly. Some of them, yeah.
I heard a guy talking about Terry Ryan talking about the great George Faulkner, Newfoundland Hall of Famer, and possibly the greatest hockey player from that province on the grand scheme of things. And he talked. Terry Ryan on Jason Gregor's show talked with admiration about Faulkner's, how good he still was deep into his 70s, just going down to the rink and playing, pickup hockey. And he just died, Faulkner, which is why they were talking to him about him. But
who's supposed to be really good? Well, Howie Meeker was good into his 80s and he's passed away, but Terry Harper apparently lives out on the island, former Montreal Canadiens, LA Kings defenseman. And he's about 84, 85, and he's supposed to be in incredible shape and still a hell of a hockey player, Terry Harper. There's in Calgary, I think Rich Preston and Dennis Polonich just rip it up in old timers hockey. Like they're two of the stars.
Past. I mean, those guys played in the 70s.
yeah.
I mean, if they've played in the 70s, that means they're in their 70s now, at minimum.
Yeah, and some guys, like obviously a lot of NHLers are too beat up to keep playing, I think, but some of them just still have that passion to keep playing, keep competing, and it's fantastic. All right,
Dennis
Bruce.
Polonich was that pest who Wilf Paymont broke his stick over, took a 15-game suspension for just, he had enough one night and just slashed him.
Wilf Paymont snapped, as they said it back in the day, snapped.
Yes.
All right, 5-4 loss to the Colorado Avalanche, Bruce. It was a spasm of a track meet, spasm of a relay race, to be more precise, where there was all kinds of collisions between the two teams, and the last team to hold onto the baton actually won the game, the Avs. It was I thought, like they were saying in the broadcast, great game and on and on. I just thought it was a mess of a hockey game where some of the Oilers' best players were their worst players. And let's get at it. 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. What's your good thing?
Yeah, well, almost by default, because you got the other one. The Oilers had two goal scorers in this game and a whole lot of meh. And even the 2 goal scorers weren't necessarily that great, but I'll take Corey Perry, who came up with his 11th and 12th goals of the season on 2 goals that Mackenzie Blackwood won't be happy with, especially the first one, where Perry fired in a high shot from outside that hit Blackwood right in the glove. And somehow he wasn't able to catch it, and it popped high in the air, landed on the ice, and then Perry did a brilliant job of corralling the rebound and just patiently walking around Blackwood and from the backhand side, roofing it right in the top of the net. Like once the mistake was made by Blackwood, he was dead man. I won't say walking, but he was kind of laying on the ice at that point, and Perry just put it away. You could see the old sniper's touch and also the patience of a guy who knows how to score goals, but also just kind of, old man patience. I got an extra second here. I'm going to use it. So I did
He's
like
in no
that play
rush.
by Perry, even as I thought from a goaltending perspective, and I'll get some pushback on this. This was the worst goal of the hockey game. Anyway, and then Perry got another one in the middle frame, just by um, going to the net, and I think Jeff Skinner fed it into him, and Perry just
Yeah.
took it into the crease and just kind of mashed and bashed, lashed and slashed away at it, and somehow it hit the defenseman's skate and trickled in. It was not a thing of beauty. This one wasn't particularly on the goalie, but it was just Corey Perry doing Corey Perry things, getting into the blue paint
That's what I said
and
in my
having
Bing
that
grades.
long, effective stick of his. And sometimes that turns into a wand that creates some kind of black magic that puts the puck in the net. Anyway, the upshot of all this is that Oilers go to break after game 55, two-thirds of the way through the season, and Corey Perry has suddenly surged to 12 goals and en route to an 18-goal season, which pretty impressive for a guy who plays, second power play, some fourth line, mostly odd cameos up the lineup. If he's going on nights that someone isn't, he might get a push or he might get a 6-on-5 at the end, which is, I think, a really good place for him to be. And uh, he's one of the leaders in goals per 60 because he's, what's he playing, 10, 12 minutes a night in that range? I haven't looked real close recently, but he's, for the number of goals he's popped, for the number of minutes he's played, is pretty impressive. And he's one guy who kept the Oilers hanging around in this game with a chance to steal a point or two. Alas, that didn't happen.
I think that first one, when the goalie coughed up that puck that went into his glove, I think Rico was breathing down his neck there. Adam Henrique was right hanging in there, and that was part of the problem for the Avs goalie. Perry, Bruce, he played really well last season too in the regular season. He was quite effective for the Oilers when he came over. His game completely crashed in the playoffs last year. And at the time, you and I speculated heavily that he had been injured late in the year and he had not been the same after that.
He
And I think
crashed
that
into the
was the
boards
case.
and hurt his knee, to my eye. I mean, I remember the play. It was in the LA series behind the net. And
So
boards.
if he can stay healthy in the playoffs and play at this level, because again, at even strength, he's worked his way up. He started out pretty slow for the first couple months, but in the last couple months, he's been good. He's been really good at even strength and even better as a goal scorer. I mean, he's been scoring all along. But if he can stay healthy for the playoffs, I think he can. I think he can help the Oilers, and of course, he has become a monumental folk hero in Edmonton for dumping Quinn Hughes on his head. the, the most loved play of the year on the Edmonton Oilers. Corey Perry dumping Quinn Hughes on his head. Bruce, my good thing is Leon Draisaitl. I think, well, he's having an MVP of a season, and I mean, I don't watch Connor Hellebuck, so maybe there's going to be a challenge there. I have seen Nathan McKinnon. I have seen Nathan McKinnon. He's freaking unreal good. So there's another challenge there. But man, Leon Draisaitl's been amazing, and he scored 2 fantastic goals tonight. The first came on the power play. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins made a nice pass over, and Draisaitl just so quick with those hands. And it wasn't the hardest shot, but it was there's some traffic. He got off a bit of a semi-executioner shot, I'll say. And it just, before the goalie knew it was in, right? It was just past him. Fantastic shot by Draisaitl. The next goal was the 4-4 goal that tied it up. The Oilers had been down 4-2 and they tied it up 4-4, which was fantastic, which, exciting comeback. And probably the last Oilers good moment for the Oilers in the game almost.
They didn't have much going on in the third.
They sure didn't. Nugent Hopkins made a great play, controlling the puck along the board, moving up and down the boards a bit, and then putting the puck over to Leon Draisaitl, who's coming down into the slot area. Leon Deeks, a defender, gets the first shot off, goes to his knees, and gets the rebound and puts it in for his 40th goal in 55 games. That is spectacular production from Leon Draisaitl, and he is such a force this year, Bruce. And I thought it was an outstanding game from Leon. He didn't make any mistakes at even strength on grade A shots against. He was in on 6 grade A shots for. He scored the 2 goals on brilliant shots. Hell of a game from Leon. Although, like the rest of his team, well, actually, unlike he was the one guy with a minute left in the game. He kind of made a pass into the slot, and it hit someone's skate and hit the post. Almost went in. Crossbar.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot when they have the 6-on-5, and they either score or they hit the post or crossbar. And usually it's Leon. And it's happened like several times this year, and I seem to recall it happening quite a few times last year as well, where they come so close to tying it up with ding the post. Anyway, in this case, it would have been a bit of a fluke because he was actually making a pass, but it almost bounced in. But that was the only thing the Oilers had resembling a chance in the last 15 minutes of the game. I think the Avs had 5 straight grade A's before they finally put the one in. And it was
in the third. They did, Bruce. Yeah. I mean, they had that power play, so
yeah,
the 5-on-3. So, what's your bad thing, Bruce?
Yeah, well, it's a smorgasbord available tonight for bad things.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Stu Skinner. And I say nice things about Stu Skinner, and he deserves to have nice things to say about him. But the criticism that he gets is that he's erratic. And unfortunately, this is, I think, the 5th game already in 2025, which is not that old yet, where he's given in 3 goals in the first period. And I mean, he did last time against Colorado. Remember, they were down 3-0, and then he slammed the door, and they came all the way back and won 4-3. Well, that time, Coach Chris Knobloch had confidence in him to stay in the game. Tonight, down 3-2, he didn't stay with him. And if he, in a hypothetical scenario where he slams the door, the Oilers did eventually get 4 in this one as well. But I'm sure not going to blame Calvin Pickard. I think the issue here was just not getting saves or enough saves. Stu made a really good save off of, I think it was McKinnon, right away in the game, and another one that was going into the top corner, again from McKinnon, and yet another one from McKinnon right at the end of the first period when it was already 3-2. And that was McCarr, right? And I thought that was the one that was going to keep him in the game. But in the meantime, 3 goals went in, and we're still discussing whether one of them was a grade A shot. The McKinnon goal that went right through Ty Emberson's screen, and Stu didn't get a good look at it. But at the same time, he wasn't very well set for that shot. Like, his stick was a little bit off the ice, and McKinnon found that little bit of hole, and next thing you know, you hear the thud of the puck hitting the padding at the bottom of the net, and which is not a good sound if you're a goalie. And anyway, honestly, I mean, it's a grade A shot, but you'd like to think it should be stopped. And then the McCarr goal that made it 2-1, this was a cross-ice pass from McKinnon where McCarr moved into the home plate area, but he was fairly high up, certainly above the dot, but below the hypothetical ringette line. And he fired a great shot. And this kind of shot doesn't get as much credit. It looks like a bad goal every time. And, people have PTSD flashbacks about Sam Reinhart scoring in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals in the exact same spot. Fired under his glove, right against his hip, and he just couldn't get down to it. And sniper's going to snipe, Reinhardt's a sniper, McCarr's a sniper. That was a good shot. Again, you'd like to have a save. He's far enough out, that glove's got to get down there, or some body part, needs to somehow make contact with that. The third one, I don't put
No
that on the
chance.
goalie at all. But
Yeah,
I
we'll
just
get to
thought I
that.
came out of the third period or first period on Jesus, 10 shots, 3 goals. And just after I wrote a nice article complimenting you this morning. So tonight you're going to get the broadside, Stu. Sorry, buddy, but that wasn't good enough. And you put your team behind the 8 ball, and they never were quite able to climb out from under. They tied it, but they could never get the upper hand at any point. And I just thought pretty disappointing effort in
Yeah.
this particular game. So
I think the Reinhardt shot was from closer to the boards and was more disappointing going in. And Kulak, it was more on Kulak who should have blocked. He shouldn't have allowed the shot in the
Kulak
first
backed in to
place.
cover Kassisi's man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Draisaitl was a split second slow, and the 50-odd goal scorer was given a free shot from the high slot, and he made a shot. And everybody blamed the goalie. Well, to me, there was several layers of mistakes, but ultimately it did beat the goalie.
The goalie was part of the problem on
He
those
made.
shots, I will
Mm-hmm.
argue.
Yeah,
Bruce,
no, there were several
Ken,
layers of mistakes. A forward, a
yeah,
defenseman, and a goalie all got beat on that play. Most
teams that
folks
won the
remember the
Stanley Cup,
goalie. Hmm?
teams that win the Stanley Cup, they get that goaltending in Game 7, and it reminded, like, in talk about PTSD, Bruce. It goes back even further to Game 7 against Anaheim when Cam Talbot let in a shot like that. And I think it even goes back further to Game
Went
7 of
under
the
his
Stanley Cup
arm.
Finals in 2006,
Mm-hmm.
when I believe there was an outside shot like that also went in, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that one, but I think there was that same kind of shot. So,
Mm-hmm.
my bad thing, Bruce, Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Maybe McDavid's worst game of the year. He had some great plays. He had one great rush where he took it end to end and almost scored in the first. That would have been great. But on the second goal, the goal we've just been talking about, he made 2 mistakes. And the first one, I don't know why he did it. The Avs have the puck behind the net. McDavid's out front of the net, and he decides to charge behind the net. Defensemen just love that. When a forward decides he's going to come around the net and get you. I mean, I don't think there's hardly an NHL defenseman who can't make that play.
That was McCarr, wasn't it?
Of
The guy who
stepping
wound up
out, I
scoring.
can't even remember. Well, it's certain, and Cale McCarr would be the most likely to make the play. Of McDavid's coming around. Well, you're gonna chase out, and the Oilers never recovered from that moment. Bruce, the goal rush was on because he was out of position and out of the play,
That was
and he
Taves.
never got back in the play, and he was unable to cut out the pass. He and Hyman that went over to McCarr from McKinnon because he had made a bad decision in the offensive zone. He got impatient and chased. So I don't know why he did that, and I don't. It's not like him, but he did it. On the fourth Avs goal, he and Bouchard were at fault. More on Bouchard.
Mm-hmm.
Power play, and Bouchard makes the typical pass. And I don't know why. I think it's a good strategy for teams to play that pass and try to pick it off. And they did. They knocked it down, and they went in, and the puck worked its way to McCarr through McDavid again on that play. He was unable to cut out the pass. This is much more on Bouchard. And of course, a big moment for Evan Bouchard haters of the world, of which there are many, of which there are several. But not a good play by Bouchard, and McDavid was unable to clean up the mess, and it's pucks in the net. The next big mistake goes to Hyman, and this is probably the biggest mistake. It was the biggest mistake in the game. The game's winding down. It's 4-4. You're getting close to that loser point. You can taste it.
Yeah.
And 4 minutes and 24 seconds, 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Zach Hyman moves into the offensive zone and makes most dreaded of all hockeyological uh, mistakes. He starts the sequence of pain with a turnover just inside the offensive blue line, passing it back, picked off, and the Avs are off to the races. And McKinnon charges in. Pickard stops the first one. The rebound goes to the side of the net. It's passed out front, and Nate just puts it in. Now, Bruce, you saw something that I missed, and I'm going to go back and review this for our grade A shot scoring chance document. But what did you see from McDavid on the play?
100 miles behind the play and making absolutely zero effort to get back into it when his teammates were clearly scrambling. And when it started, like he was going into the zone when the puck got turned over.
Yeah.
But then he just coasted from the blue line to center to the other blue line. And then Natchez, I mean, he could have caught Natchez
You think so, eh?
well, I mean, with a committed burst of speed, I'm convinced so. Now, I'm not sure he probably saw him as his man, but man, the amount of effort shown on that play was, yeah, not good. And a 4-4 tie with 5 minutes left when Nathan McKinnon's skedaddling the other way with the puck. Maybe you should think about skedaddling yourself and see if you can help, you know? And he just didn't. The low angle view is the one from behind the Oilers net where the goal goes in. And McDavid is that guy way off in the distance that's just absolutely coasting. And I mean, barely moving. And this is the fastest player in the world or very close to it. And it's just, uh, it's just not there. And I
Yeah.
don't think it was there for him very much at all in this game. This was an extremely disappointing game from 97.
You know what I see, Bruce? I see a team that's been sick,
Yeah.
hit with sickness and travel
And that break couldn't come soon enough.
endless games, like for like a couple months in a row, like just bang, bang, bang the games. The travel. This was a tired team. Looking forward to a 2-week vacation. McDavid could use one himself, maybe, but he's not going to get it because he's.
Let's put it this way. Here are the Team Canada centers from tonight. Let's see if you can tell them apart. One of them had 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, +2. And the other one was no goals, no assists, no points, -3 in a 1-goal hockey game.
McKinnon had 4 points.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Well, he had 3 in the first period.
Yeah, what a player.
And then he
He's
set up
such a
the
great
game
player.
winner. Yeah, and they were all scored the first goal, primary assist, primary assist, primary assist. He was all over this game and rightfully the first star.
What's your number, Bruce?
Yeah, my number's 1. This is the number of hits produced by Edmonton forwards in this game. 1 hit from the forwards. Like the team had 9. Darnell Nurse had 6 of them. That could be my number. And then we had D-Man Matthias Ekholm with 1. John Klingberg somehow was credited with a hit. And then we have Kasperi Kapanen with the lone hit from any Edmonton forward. And, you know, the moment it boiled over for me watching it, the lack of sort of physical effort, was in the last 26 seconds when Colorado won the face-off into the defensive corner.
Yeah,
the puck went to the boards and it stayed there. And not one guy went in there and said, I'm going to knock somebody down and get the puck. It was just none of it. And hello, boys. I mean, I get you're not a physical team, but you got to raise the stakes a little bit from 1 hit from 12 forwards in a 60-minute hockey game. I mean, and when the puck was there, I mean, that you want to flashback to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That puck went in the corner, and I was just sort of, this is Florida. Game 7. Remember, it went into that left defensive corner in Florida and never came out for like the last 15 seconds of the Game 7. And the Oilers had 3 guys kind of digging for it, and 3 other guys are standing around waiting for the miracle pass, and Florida just outnumbered them around the puck, and they never were able to get it. And anyway, I thought the level of to some extent that's a level of of commitment from the team. Uh, in terms of physicality, sometimes you just got to lay yourself out there. And like I say, that was a play where they needed a bull in the china shop to go into that corner and, you know, break the logjam somehow. Instead, they just, like, it went in there with 26 seconds left, and I think it was 4 seconds when it finally came to Draisaitl behind the net.
Mhm.
And, if you're not going to throw a hit, then win some other kind of battle. Dig the puck out somehow.
Here's a stat for you. Natchez Bruce has 9 points in 8 games since he joined the Avs.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikko Rantanen has 2 points in 6 games since he joined Carolina.
Yeah.
I wonder how much point scoring for both those players is influenced by playing with McCarr and McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we'll talk about. We'll talk about that right at the end. We'll talk a little bit about Rantanen.
Okay.
Bruce, my number is 129. I'd said earlier that after Draisaitl's goal, there hadn't been many good moments for the Oilers. That was actually true, somewhat true offensively. True offensively, but not true defensively. I thought that the penalty killing on the 5-on-3 that Colorado had in the third period was outstanding from the Edmonton Oilers. Colorado had 2 grade A shots, but not one 5-alarm shot. It was just solid positional, smart hockey by Kulak, Emberson, Ekholm, Nurse, Henrique, and Janmark, the 6 players who killed off that penalty. Excellent work by them, and a key moment in the game, and it gave me real hope the Oilers were going to win this game. I thought they might get some momentum from that. Didn't happen, but that was fun. And Calvin Pickard made a number of really good saves. Again, no 5-alarm shots, but he made some good saves. Overall in the game, Bruce, we have it as 15 5-alarms for the Oilers, 14 for the Avs, 15 grade A shots for the Oilers, 14 for the Avs, and the subset of even more dangerous 5-alarm shots, 11 for the Oilers, 8 for the Avs. So the Oilers were not blown. Obviously, this was a close game. The Oilers played well enough to get 11 5-alarm shots, but they did give up 8, which is a high number. Bruce, let's talk about the Rantanen trade rumor, which is really interesting because both Bob Stauffer and Nick Kypreos have mentioned that they think that they've heard that the Carolina Hurricanes may be trading Rantanen after picking him up for Natchez. They may be moving him before the deadline. What do you make of that? I mean, we know that they have unconventional thinking. They're led by Eric Tulsky and Tyler Delos over there.
Yep.
So these are 2 people who are thinking outside the box, probably about hockey.
Yep.
And what do you make of it?
2 very fine bloggers, among other things. I really miss their contributions on the spheres, we used to call it. And so there was a number of people who got had some impact on that front, and then they kind of disappeared. Also, some good stat sites that went away. Cap Friendly being the most recent example. Anyway, Dello and Tulsky's blog was remarkable. That guy is a freaking genius, like super high IQ. He's got 20-some patents from his previous professional life. And
good
anyway,
skill set, talent stack,
yeah,
high talent stack.
but he loves hockey, and he got into hockey, and he wrote a very great blog, which unfortunately I don't think any archives remain. I think it just all got blacked out when he went into management with one team. Unconventional doesn't begin to describe what it would take for Carolina to finally get the supreme scorer that they've been looking for all these years, only to turn around and trade him away, 10 games later or whatever. I'd be shocked. At the same time, unconventional managers do unconventional things, so I guess it's possible, but I don't know what would be the motivation or rationale for why would you trade him, and what would you get for him that's going to make your team better? Or are you just that disappointed in his first handful of games that,
Well, maybe you've realized you can't sign him, that you
right, maybe
traded
they
him.
talked to him
No,
and yeah,
I think that's what it is, Bruce. I
yeah,
think
that
I
that
think it
would
has
make
to
some
do with
sense
the
for sure.
inability to sign the player. I don't think it
Hmm.
would. The one thing I thought when they traded for him is, and you often see this, sometimes see this. Uh, they already have Andrei Svechnikov, who is a
Right.
big, strong, right shot guy,
I think he's left
and
shot, but he's
he
big
plays
and
the
strong.
right wing.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Like Rantanen.
Okay, so he plays the right wing,
Rantanen's
but he's
also a
left
right
shot. My
winger.
mistake.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe there's a little bit of duplication in talent. Like, do you want both of them on the power play? Maybe you do. I don't know, but I don't know if they both play the power play. I guess I could check right now. Uh, Actually, it wouldn't say that. So I just thought I wondered if there's a bit of duplication in the first place in making this trade. Um, I mean, I like Rantanen as a player. He's not like when I watch the Avs, all I think of is McKinnon and McCarr. Like those guys are just out of this world good. They're
Well,
the
they
only
were
two
tonight.
players in the NHL to me who compare level of talent to Draisaitl and McDavid, and it's really close. It's pretty close, between those four guys. There's little separating them. They're special players. I think they're the four superstars in the NHL, and there might be a few others that'll creep into that, but to me, they're the four superstars. Rantanen, I don't know. Like, I don't have strong memories of him actually from like he's a good, really good player, scored a lot of goals. But as for Rantanen to the Oilers, because that's obviously what people are thinking. When Bob
As they
Stauffer
would.
put out this rumor on Oilers Now, said he's going to throw a curveball, and it threw me for a loop. And it took
Hmm.
me a second to like think it through, like Rantanen, like could the Oilers pick him up at the trade deadline? And I just thought, what I thought in the end is there's going to be if he is for available, he probably is. Sounds like he is. Um, there's going to be other teams that will offer more and can offer more and will need him more than the Oilers. And I would be surprised if he came to the Oilers because
No.
the Oilers don't have the cap space. They don't have the players. He came from Martin Necas, who was in this year is one of the top 20 scorers in the NHL. So the Oilers don't have that guy. They're going to move. Like who would they move for Rantanen? I mean, you're not going to trade Evan Bouchard for Mikko Rantanen. I don't think. Um, so I just don't think the Oilers are the team that's going to make that move for
They,
Rantanen.
they don't have the trade capital to get a player of that magnitude.
Yes, that's right. I
You
guess
know,
you
they
could
got
trade Evander Kane,
they got no first round pick in 2025, right? They got in the prospect pool, they got a couple of skilled smaller guys in Bo Aki, defenseman, and of course Matt Savoy, hotshot forward, who I really hope they don't trade based on all the reports that we've been getting from the AHL that he's not only starting to score with regularity, but that he's, according to Bruce Kurlock, who's a really ace uh, prospect evaluator for Oilers Nation, he says he's the best defensive forward on the Bakersfield Condors. He's a 20-year-old rookie. And he's, a scorer. He was in the All-Star game.
so he's
Got at
killing
least
penalties
one
and
goal. Yeah, killing penalties, and he's doing the whole thing down there, and he's getting the full year, or the better part of it. But it'd be disappointing if he got traded before he ever got a look up here, because we don't know what we got here other than a very fine young player who uh, we hope will make it to the next level.
how about this, Bruce? You trade Evander Kane, a top prospect, either Savoy or Sam O'Reilly, and a second round pick. The reason they take that trade is because you're not only getting Kane a power forward at the playoffs, you're getting his cap space to make other moves at the deadline
Mm-hmm.
this year. Because so this is the realization that Rantanen isn't signing there. They're just it's not working, and they can see it immediately. They know it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got to move them. So you want and you get Kane, who you'll have for the playoffs then, healthy Evander Kane, who is a playoff force, could be as big as Mikko Rantanen in the playoffs if he's healthy. And you get a couple prospects, and then you trade those players. You have the cap space for other players, and then you really load up. How about that for a trade? Is that insane? Probably.
Well, I don't think Kane has gotten anywhere near the trade value
Probably
to
not.
attract a player of the ilk of Mikko Rantanen. I mean, he's not even healthy for starters.
No, but it's Kane and his cap space.
Right. I
Both.
get that.
Yeah. So
But
it's
you
not
get
just Kane. Because I agree
right.
with you. But it's
But
both. It's that cap space which is so
yeah,
attractive.
I just don't think the Oilers have uh, they've hit up their prospects list and their draft picks stockpile at the deadline every year for years. That Ken Holland's been trading 1 and 2 years into the future on draft picks, and moving out guys like Michael Kesselring, for short term fixes and rentals and stuff. And so they don't have. I mean, they're currently ranked something like 28th or 30th in prospect pool. So there won't be teams lining up for prospects from that list. So I mean, they have pot sweeteners in there, but I just don't see what they would have that would draw, a consistent top 10 scorer like Mikko Rantanen. And honestly, I'm not sure what the Oilers would do with him if they got him.
I don't think
But
that trade would happen
Draisaitl
either.
maybe.
I know that Chicago ate half of Rantanen's cap space. You need someone then to
Oh right.
another half. It would be difficult for the Oilers to fit in Rantanen under the cap, even if someone else. If you don't have Kane, and what's
Right.
his situation with the cap,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough for the Oilers to be under the cap and make deals at the deadline anyway. So he's very valuable to the Oilers in that way. And I don't know if like it's fitting in Rantanen under the cap. Anyway, I don't think that'll happen. Again, I think there's other teams that'll be more motivated to get Rantanen and be able to offer more, and they'll get him if he is indeed on the block. It's an interesting.
Like the Golden Knights
He's the Mikko Rantanen, the
and the
rumor that
Kings.
Mikko Rantanen, the trade rumor that launched 1,000 blog posts. Like we will have that, and I'll probably write a couple of them myself as people speculate on what will
Right
happen with
on.
Rantanen, because it's a very interesting situation. All right,
Yeah, it's
we're going to the
strange. Like he
four.
played in Colorado for 10 years, and how long has he been in Carolina? 10 minutes?
Yeah,
Like not even 10 games. And they're already speculating he might be pillar to post, eh?
yeah, fascinating. Well, they got burnt by Gensel, as Bob Stauffer mentioned. They
Yes.
traded for him, they couldn't sign him. Maybe they're
Yep.
tired of that, and they're just
Yep.
saying we're
No,
not
that's a
doing that
real
again.
good comparable. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's
we're not
yeah.
doing that. And they feel it, so they're going to move him, and I could see that happening. All right, which is a problem for the team that gets him, because are they going to be able to sign him? Like what? How much does he want? Like
Yeah.
what's going on
Mhm.
here with this player in terms
Yeah.
of his contract demands? So,
Yeah.
all
Well, he's
righty,
got a pretty good statistical case in terms of what he's done. And of course, the way the salary cap is expanding in the next 3 years, it's easy for the agent to say, well, we're asking for 18% of the cap now, but it'll only be 14% in 3 years. You know, and the price tag might scare off all but the big July 1st. He'll get a big payday on July 1st. Of that, I have no doubt.
he does have 101 points in 81 playoff games, but where would the Oilers put him on their power play? For instance, would he like take Nuge's spot on the power play? Do they need another shooter right in that spot?
Hmm.
Maybe
Their
they haven't.
seventh ranked power play. I mean, it's not really
Yeah, an
getting her done.
incremental improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see
Hmm.
what happens. We'll see what happens, Bruce. All right, we're
Yeah.
heading to the Four Nations tournament.
Well,
Team Canada. I am a big Team Canada fan. I'm pumped for the
mhm.
tournament. I know that a lot of people aren't, but I am. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see Connor McDavid play for Team Canada. And is Sidney Crosby, have they decided, is he playing or not? I hope he's playing.
Well, he was on the ice today, but missed regular practice with Pittsburgh, and then he missed a game. So if he's hurt this close to the tournament, you'd have to think that they'll be pretty strong retardant on him actually going. Like it would be, the team would probably be encouraging him to say, if you're hurt at all, Sid, better take the time to get well, and it'd be pretty hard to argue. I mean, if that was McDavid, would you be wanting him to go to Four Nations? I mean, I want to see McDavid and Sid play together, although in truth they'll be on separate lines.
Does Pittsburgh have any hope of making the playoffs though? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't follow it.
Hanging around.
All those teams it's all so close, like the battle of the mediocrities.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're yeah. Okay, here's the playoff race by points. 50, 60, and 60 are the two wild card teams. Well, 62 and 61, Ottawa and Detroit. Then Columbus, Boston, 60. Islanders, 57. Rangers, 56. Canadians, 55. Penguins, 55. Flyers, 53. But Penguins have played more games than anybody else. So they've, the other teams all have a couple of games in hand on them. And Pittsburgh's, like they're at 491 points percentage, and it's probably going to take 550 or better to get in. So the odds are pretty strong against them, and their goaltending's a mess. And Malkin's hurt, I think he was, and Chris Letang has a big salary and is a significant defensive liability at this point in his career. Anytime I watch him, anyway. And haven't looked at the metrics or anything. They just traded away, Marcus Pettersson, a pretty good, second pairing defenseman. And Vancouver signed him, 6 years, $5.5 million. They didn't waste any time. So he's going to be a Canuck for the foreseeable. Yet another Pettersson. I think that's their third one.
I think if there's any way possible for Sidney Crosby to go, he will go. He wants this, this could be a last hurrah. You never know. Like if he'll make the Olympic team, he's 37. We'll see what happens. So I suspect he'll go. That would be my bet.
If he's healthy, he'll make the Olympic team too. I'll bet you. But
yeah, he would.
He's got a lot of games
still a points per game player. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him score a brilliant goal in overtime the other night to break up a game, and but he's hurt. He got hurt after that happened, and now, so it all depends on how he responds. And I would have to think he'd have to respond pretty fast for anything other than say, no, we can't be doing this. We need Sid to get healthy, which would be too bad. But
1,654 points in the NHL, Sidney Crosby. Great hockey player. What a great hockey player. And a hero of Canada. Set up, scored the golden goal in the Olympics in the 2010. Iggy. Biggest goal of this century in hockey.
Still remember it. It came along the sideboards, and the puck got tied up in the referee's skate.
It happens.
And it messed up the American defenseman. And Sid dug it out, and because the defenseman was kind of wrong-footed by the trajectory of the puck, it went to Iginla. And Sid broke free, and he yelled, Iggy! You could hear it across Canada on TV as he yelled for that pass, and Iggy put it on his stick, and Sid sifted one through Ryan Miller's legs. Great shot. The country went nuts.
Yeah.
Wonderful moment.
Bruce, let's leave it on that happy thought.
Yeah, we will be doing podcasts during the...
Yeah. After Team Canada games.
After Team Canada games, yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so we'll keep up with sort of a couple podcasts a week during the break, and of course we'll be back at her with a heavy hockey NHL schedule starting again on the 22nd. So
yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.